न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्रतारकम न इमा विद्युतो भाति कुतोयमग्निः तमेव भान्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति. The Upanishads say, they declare this mantra, that there the sun does not shine, the moon does not shine, there is no lightning, there is no fire, yet there is light. And what kind of light it is? The light in whose light everything else is seen, everything becomes visible, and everything else shines as it shines. Two things: everything shines in its light, and it shines as it shines in its light. For example, if there is a red light in the room, everything will look reddish. So not only everything becomes visible, it becomes visible in a reddish hue. Likewise, in that place, there is no light other than this. What is this? This is the light of consciousness. This is the light of self, the light of supreme divinity. This is what the Upanishads declare. So it's a symbolism to say that everything that we experience in this world, good, bad, ugly, it's because of that one consciousness that permeates and pervades everything. And in that consciousness, we have become aware of everything that we experience. And that consciousness is one and the same in all beings, whether they are birds or animals or they are humans or divine beings. In all of them, that one consciousness alone shines. And that is what is a unifying factor. That is what unites us all as a world. So when we travel around the world, while we look at other reasons to be united, to be a good global family of kind humans, but more importantly, I look at the spiritual dimension of how everybody is one and the same. So when I come back here or I go to any other country, as I said, on the surface of it, it looks like, okay, this is one place, that is another. But deep inside, I do not feel the difference. Deep inside, I see all of it like waves on the same ocean. You can't say this wave is different from that wave. They may look different for a moment, but deep inside, they're all the same, because they're made of the same water that makes up the ocean. They're all part of the ocean. So these are all waves in the ocean of consciousness. We are all waves in the ocean of consciousness. And that is what unites us. We look different, we look separate only for a moment. That separateness, the difference is momentary, it's transient, it is impermanent. But the unifying oneness of consciousness is permanent. So it is not a problem at all to go to any country, meet any kinds of, all kinds of people of different faiths and philosophies, even atheists. This time I had the special privilege of meeting people in the US who called themselves of atheists, which means they don't believe in God. That's what they don't believe in something like that. They believe in science, they believe in commerce, they believe in economy, they believe in politics, they believe in good human relationships, they believe in good societal values, but they don't believe in God, they said. So I was told, please come and talk to them. They're all very well-to-do people, millionaires and billionaires of the Silicon Valley. They're good people, they want to do good, but don't talk about God to them. So imagine telling me not to talk about God to people. I said, that's my main teaching. Leaving that, how do I teach anything else? Almost saying, speak English, but do not use English. How can I speak that? So I had to be very nice to them and I understand their background, where they come from. And then, obviously, my definition of God is very simple. G-O-O-D is good, and G-O-D is God. So in every good, there is God. And that is how the new generation understands God better. If I go by the old school of religion and the way it is, the structured schools of religion, then there is huge no-no in the world, especially with the new generation, which has seen enough strife and conflicts and wars. Even now, as we sit here, there are wars going on in the name of religion. So religion has not really helped anybody much. At some point in time, it helped people stay together, be united, be disciplined to some extent. But today, religion is losing its meaning. People are becoming anti-religious. They are becoming atheists, so to say, because they don't want to believe in that God that sits in heaven up above and passes judgments, and in whose world there is so much of chaos and cruelty, in whose world there is sadness and misery, and in whose creation there is so much of imbalance and iniquity. They don't want to believe in one God like that. But the God that Sanatana Dharma talks about is that one consciousness. Nirguna Nirakara Brahma, they call it. That which is attributeless, which is formless, but it does exist as the consciousness that we all have. Nobody can deny. If somebody says, I do not have consciousness, it would be a plain lie, because he is using his consciousness to say that I do not have consciousness. So this is like a person who says with his own tongue that I do not have a tongue. That doesn't hold true. So if somebody says, I do not believe in God, this even ability to say that I do not believe, this ability to think that you do not believe, this ability to argue that you do not believe also comes from God only according to our scriptures. Because without that consciousness, nothing exists. Unless you have that consciousness in you, the awareness in you, you can't even experience the world. You can't experience anything, whether it's happy or sad things. So this message is that of Sanatana Dharma. So when I go around, I tell them that don't worry and don't fight over various types of gods with various powers and manifestations. Deep behind all of those, gods and names and form, there exists this reality of consciousness. And that consciousness is one and the same in all of us. I know some of the students have joined recently. For them, all this will be Greek and Latin at this point in time. But you will learn as time passes what it is all about. And therefore, we have no problem singing any God's glory. Just now, the bhajan was going on. They were saying, Yeshu, Buddha, Allah, Mahavir, and so many names, Nanak, and things like that. And we say, Koi bhi naam japo, re manava Ishwar prem hai. God is love. And if, call him by any name, doesn't matter. Or call her by any name, doesn't matter. The essence of all religion, the essence of our spirituality is that God is that pure love. That love is what we call as consciousness, because we ask, what is the nature of this consciousness? Is it a dead, cold, emotionless, insensitive force, or there is more to it? And the closest we get to know it, that it has this nature of unconditional love. It is for all, without any discrimination, without any conditions. And that is the quality of God's love. And that is why we call that love as God. And this is what they were singing. I do not know of any other philosophy around the world I have traveled where they sing the name of another god of another religion in their prayers. I haven't seen that, except in India, in Sanatana Dharma, where we have no qualms about chanting Allah or Nanak or Yeshu or Mahavira or Buddha. We have no problem. We sit in the same hall, we chant everybody's name, and we are okay with it. I haven't seen that happen in many parts of the world. Imagine in another institution of religion, Rama or Krishna or Devi being chanted. Doesn't happen in the world. Only in India, in Sanatana Dharma, this broad-mindedness comes. And where does this broad-mindedness come from? It comes not from some socio-culture conditioning. It is from our spiritual values. Spiritual value of that oneness, that consciousness that believes everything is divine. Everything is animated, permeated by that same divine consciousness. Look at I failed to find the right word. The broad-mindedness, the universality, the practicality, the usefulness, the appropriateness of Sanatana Dharma. And then I go around the world, this is what I teach to everyone. And for those who call themselves as non-believers, I just tell them, you believe in good, let's begin there. One day you will believe that every good is God and God is good. That will happen to you, but let's begin from one end, you'll reach the other end at some point in time. And then you'll find there are no two ends, this is just one same thing. But these are new experiences that I have when I travel around the world, that how people have different perspectives about God and religion. And what I feel is that for today's time, the best way to define God is to do good, and good which is unconditional good, good that is not bound by expectations of outcomes, of rewards and recognitions. Just doing good for goodness sake is the quality of God. And that is what I am going around telling. And I'm so happy this time, and I saw so many nice things are happening around the world. We just started off these things. There are people, there are instruments there who are continuing this work with all their heart, with all their might and sincerity. And God is with them, in them. Through them, God works in so many ways. And sometimes, as it is surprising to our Narasimhamurthy ji, he said that sometimes it is unbelievable what's going on. It's mind-boggling and things like that. To be very truthful, sometimes it is mind-boggling for me also. I also do not know how all this is happening. One day a group of people came and they were obviously looking at all these things and everything free of charge. They asked, this must be millions and millions of dollars worth of work. How do you do this and things like that? How did you manage to do this in 12, 13 years? They were all new people, so I did not know what to answer. I simply honestly said what in Narasimhamurthy said, this is all divinely done, divinely designed, divinely executed. We are just instruments. None of them were satisfied with the answer. They said, oh, don't be too modest. But that is the truth. They expected some strategic answer of how we do things. But I said, at the bottom of it all, God does, and we just execute whatever comes to us. And if we take too much credit for it, we would look like thieves who have robbed God of his credit. So, but people don't believe. They think I must be having some secret formula, something to do these things so easily. It appears so easy. But I tell them there's nothing. Of course, there is hard work, which is by the instruments, but the design is by the divine. And that one consciousness inspires people, animates them, activates them, moves them to do what is needed. So I've been to so many places, Sri Lanka being the hospital there. We started with the cath lab services, and so many hundreds of people have benefited. They are breadwinners of the family, mothers, single mothers of the children. These mothers were widowed during the war, Sri Lankan civil war. All those people are being rescued and saved today. It's very heartening, and good people are working with us. Collaborations are there. The local university and medical school is working with us. That's how we are able to achieve these things. We're taking everybody along. Then we go to Malaysia. I see ashrams. We have very intense, very deep spiritual discussions about how do we grow from this individual ego, small I, to the universality of consciousness, which is the big I. And what should be the way? What is the method? And that day we have a deep discussion. And then suddenly from there we also go to Malaysia, another place in the eastern Malaysia called Sarawak. And that Sarawak is a island, which part of it is Malaysia, part of it is Indonesia and things like that. So there we have an ashram. It's called Vishwaniketanam, Universal Home. There, first time our students from Veda Pathashala traveled on their very first assignment abroad to install the Ganapati in that temple. And they all, with the acharyas, traveled and did whatever prana pratishtha and things like that. So these are the signs of what's coming next, that these kids are going to grow and then travel and teach and preach this Sanatana Dharma to the whole world. So I'm looking forward to those days. And so similarly, a Vedic intern travel. Already our Vedic students are teaching Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads to devotees from around the world through Zoom. One day they will travel, they will stay in these centers and teach these great truths, because that is the only way to redeem the world. And that is their lot. It will come their way in future. Similarly, I go to hospitals. Fiji, I went. A wonderful hospital. It started with great difficulty. During the COVID, the hospital was built with great difficulty. But the whole world participated to build the hospital. Everybody contributed. And today it's doing so well. There was a team from Europe which had come to do the mission because they don't have local surgeons and specialists for pediatric heart care. So we always have to bring teams from elsewhere. And every month a team comes, does the work. Locally they do all the screening programs. They were so grateful. They couldn't believe that such a high quality infrastructure exists in a faraway Pacific Island nation and runs free of charge. So they all came, again a collaboration with Healing Little Hearts United Kingdom and their team. They came and did, and they were so grateful, they were so emotional. But one of the child who was operated, a girl, I asked her, what do you want to become when you grow up, because now that your surgery is done? And she very shyly, she said, I would be a nurse. So I was very surprised, not wanting to be a doctor or a surgeon, but nurse. Because the nurses play such a pivotal role in helping the child recover. They are with the child all the time. Surgeons are there, but child is in anesthesia, doesn't know. But when child comes to the ward, it's the nurses who look after. So she wanted to be a nurse. I told them, you have an opportunity. We have a medical school, nursing school, paramedical school. If ever you want to come to India and study, you will always be welcome, and we will look after it. So also to build the local capacities, we offered some scholarships, because those nurses are there, but they are not as well trained in pediatric heart care, which is very specialized kind of a service. So they will come now. You'll see Fijians in our medical college hospital, Nigerians in our hospital and medical schools. You'll see people from around the world coming and getting trained. All this is going to happen. So truly this will look like a global village. That's what is happening. And in the US, it was wonderful because we started a small clinic in Clarksdale. It is in Delta region, it is called, in this Mississippi, southern US, which is the area where black Americans live. That's when they were all, in those times of slavery, they were all sold and bought in those areas and made to work on cotton fields and for the whites. And since then, the amount of trauma that they have gone through, generational trauma, and its memories are so painful. So we started a center called People Shores, which is to give jobs to such youths from such marginalized communities, because nobody takes care of them. So we want to train them, teach them, get them to do good jobs. And great jobs they're doing. One boy was telling me last time that he was flipping burgers for a living, and now he's writing softwares, he's designing bots and AI and things like that. So that far these kids have come. And not just that, we built a small clinic. I remember the first day when we started the clinic, there was a local African doctor lady who was recruited to work in the clinic. And the very next day she quit the job. And we asked, why did you do that? This is for your community. We want to help your people. They don't have insurance, they don't have medical aid. And she said, the doctors around in that area are pressurizing me not to work in a free clinic because that will affect their business. So we didn't get local help only. And now 7 years it took for us to gain the trust of the people locally that this free of charge clinic is not with any ulterior motives or agenda. It's pure love. It is simply unconditional God's love that is reaching out to you. And 6-7 years, wonderful ladies, they're our devotees who shifted from other states to Mississippi and are working day and night to help the people. Thousands of people have been treated and given medications, because of which a lot of local trust got built up. So much so that the local hospital approached us saying, can you please help us to build our mother and child center because our facilities are quite run down. Can you believe this is America, the richest country on earth, but they have places, there are pockets where hospitals don't have neonatal care services. Children die, mothers die in labor, especially in these regions where most of these African American communities live. And Clarksdale is one of the poorest areas. Mississippi is the poorest state of the USA, and Clarksdale is one of the poorest towns. That's where we are working. So they were surprised. At Stanford, we had a medical conference on pediatric heart care and how to connect such like-minded people, surgeons, with hospitals and the patients so that patients can access this surgery for free in the nearest center. That is the idea. But alongside, we also pledged to upgrade the Clarksdale Hospital, and a lot of our American devotees participated to help upgrade that hospital. In a couple of months, probably it will be ready, and hopefully by 100th birthday, if not before, the hospital will be ready and named as Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Mother and Child Center, and free of charge. We want to run it free of charge for the underinsured, for the uninsured, by providing whatever medical support. And that would be one of its kind in the whole of the United States. So this is where the things are growing and going. Sometimes I myself do not believe. I just know that this is to be done. How, where, when, who will do it, all this is to be figured out later. But you just know this is what God wants and this is what needs to be done. And unless we do good, people will lose faith in God. Already, the number of atheists are growing by the day. And a day won't be far when people won't believe in God, won't even believe in humanity, forget God. Because there's no good being done. Everything is with an agenda. Everything is for selfish reason. In these times, this mission and all our people, our devotees, our followers, our well-wishers around the world are working hard, making such sacrifices to bring hope to humanity. Every time a child is saved, this faith in humanity is restored. The faith in God is restored. How many people in Fiji were telling, how many mothers were saying, it is a God-sent help to us. Whichever God they worship, Jesus probably, because that's what most of the people there worship. Or in Sri Lanka, So there are so many people from Muslim communities, they have been saved. They were saying the particular region is quite dominated by Muslim communities. They are saying, it is Allah who has saved us. So I do not expect them to say it is Sai Baba saved us, or it is one Sadguru saved us, or it is the doctor. Let them call that divine consciousness, that supreme divine being, by whatever name they believe in. But I know that at the end of it, that is that one consciousness which is doing everything. And so whichever name they worship that consciousness with, it's perfectly okay with us. But what it is doing, at the surface, it's doing good work, helping people, saving lives, giving education, nutrition, and all that. But deep under the surface, what it is doing is, it is building this faith of people, or restoring the faith of people in humanity, human kindness, and that divinity that exists in every human heart. When they ask us, why did you do this for us in Sri Lanka? The only answer is, you are also a part of us. We are all one. We believe that when we serve you, we serve God. Which God? Whichever God you believe in. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you believe in some God, we serve that God. But I don't believe in God, no problem. You believe in goodness, for the goodness sake, we do whatever we do. That is the idea, and this is the transforming impact of this mission. I already see the change in people around. But as Narasimhamurthy said, the epicenter of it all is here in Mudenhalli. So there is greater responsibility on the people here, because everybody would say, where did it all start from? And we will point it out on the map, this is where it all started from. Oh, what kind of people there must be in Mudenhalli? All must be divine beings, all must be spiritually realized, all must be so service-minded, sacrificing. This is the impression the world is developing. You have to keep up with that impression. That's not my or your problem, it is. So my words to be believed in depends upon your conduct here. So you have a greater responsibility, because everybody thinks, and everybody, even in USA, they were saying, can we say the new center in the USA would be the Mudenhalli of the USA? That's what they were asking me, whether I can announce that. I said, okay, if that makes any sense to the people here, you can announce. So what are they doing? They are actually benchmarking themselves against all of you, saying one day such students will be here, one day such devotees will be here, one day such good work will go on here in our countries. So you have a huge responsibility, and better behave correctly. Because if you do not keep up with this kind of confidence or faith or whatever expectations that is being built around you or on you by the world because of my going around and telling things, then you would be failing in your duties. So you have a bigger responsibility. So as people here, yes, it's nice to think that this is the center home or whatever he calls it. But for me, really, there is no attachment to any place or any people. I belong to all belong to me. I'm as comfortable in the US as I'm in Fiji, so also in Malaysia or Sri Lanka or in Mudenhalli or anywhere else tomorrow. For me, it really does not matter. One of the name of Krishna is Aniketa. Aniketa means the one who has no home, homeless basically. Addressless, homeless. Because his home is everywhere. The other way of looking at it is, his home is everywhere. His people are everywhere. There is an opportunity for each of you to turn into a diamond and make it shine, and make this whole place valuable, make this whole place shine, and let this be an inspiration for the rest of the world. This is possible for all of you. So I want that to be the lesson out of this travel. I want that to be the message of these satsangs, that each one of you must rise to the occasion. You have a huge role and a responsibility, as Narasimhamurthy just pointed out, not just because you're a part of this institution, you're a part of a global human family, and people are looking up to you. They think these students will make the world better. They think these devotees will bring the change in the world that is needed. They are all depending on you people because of your association with me and with this place. They expect you to be very, very spiritually elevated and great human beings. So you have a lot of work to do. I know you all have improved. In the last 8-10 years, I have noticed people had come one way, and all of you have become much better versions of yourselves. But till you reach that final goal of being absolutely unconditionally selfless, loving and good to everyone without a reason, you haven't fully achieved the potential of your human birth. So till there, you have to keep pushing yourself. And one day you will reach, I know, because as long as you're walking on the right path, definitely a day will come when you'll reach the goal. Sooner or later, earlier or later, you will reach. So that is the hope of these institutions. Continue to do good, In everything, in every moment, think, how can I be of some use, some good to somebody else? You could be a student, there might be a weaker student in your class, not able to cope up with the studies, unable to understand. Spend some time, help. I know you need your time to study and get good marks, but at the same time, if you think of somebody who has lesser capabilities and spend some time, you have done good. You have improved as a human being. So also in every aspect, you are working, your colleague is struggling with a workload which he or she is not able to finish. If you stay back an hour more and help her or him sort this out, you have done good to the humanity. This is how we become good. You are walking, somebody is with a sad, long face, maybe going through some difficulty. You stand and ask, how is it, everything is okay. You may not be able to help, but at least you can listen to what the problem is. And that makes people feel better. That is also humanity. These simple things you can still do. And more importantly, keep this place vibrant, keep this place spiritually charged through your spiritual efforts. What is a place after all? What is the energy of a place? It is the sum total of the energy of all the people who live there. See, if 100 of you live here and 50 of you have positive energy and 50 of you have negative energy, the energy of the place will become zero. But more and more of you have good energy, good positivity, the place's energy will grow. Same thing happens to a community, or country, or a world. More number of people are good, the results or the outcomes are better. Less number of people are bad, less difficulties and problems in the society. So the idea is to turn more and more people into good people by making them do good. On our own, we won't do much good. But when you're a part of a mission, a part of an institution, a part of a project, there is no choice but to do good. And that is how you become better human beings, and one day you transform into that divine which is in all, in everything. And once you understand that, once you experience that, there is no looking back. Your life is going to be a life of fulfillment and a life of goodness for everyone around you. And that is what we are doing. So be ready for such a future where you all will be given responsibilities. You will go around the world, you will set up institutions, you will run these hospitals and colleges, these centers of development, you will teach the world the truth. But before that, you must know the truth. You must be the truth. And that job is given to you. So as you stay here and enjoy all the other privileges of being in this sacred place, in such a beautiful, spiritually charged and protected environment, also remember this is just a nursery where you are getting trained, you are growing. One day you all will be taken from this nursery and planted in faraway lands, from where you should grow and teach this truth to more and more people in the world. That is what it is. I hope you all enjoyed your Deepavali vacations. I think boys are very happy because generally it happens, if I'm around, then there's no vacations. This time was not that everybody went home, burst crackers, and I don't know what all they did, but they're all very happy. And I asked, why this special smile today? First they said, because you are back. I said, that's not the real reason. The real reason is they all got a nice, happy Deepavali vacation, and they could all spend some time, and I understand that, I like that. You must have bonding with your family, your people. But when you get these opportunities to go to your home, talk to your people, your friends, your relatives, talk to them about these good things. Help them also themselves to improve. So it's important that you discuss with them. In this week is going to be a busy week till 23rd, 24th. We have a lot of guests coming, functions are happening. We have a conference and a music event, and then we have the awards. What we give as Sri Sathya Sai Awards for Human Excellence. This is for those who have contributed to the society in 7 different fields, starting from education, health, women and child, environment, yoga and sports, so on. So this is also going to be celebrated. So 5-6 days are going to be busy, and you all must participate. And that's why these events will always happen now and then. Make sure that you study well, use your time well, so that whenever these events are there, your mind is 100% there, enjoying, understanding and learning, and not worrying about other things in your curriculum and studies. So that is also very important. Very happy to see everyone here.